Hello, everyone. It's Monday, October the 12th. Regretfully, over the weekend, we've had 9 additional West Virginians die. Our 377th death was a 78-year-old male from Mercer County. Our 378th death, a 92-year-old female from Kanawha County. 379th death, a 79-year-old male from Kanawha County. Our 380th death, a 96-year-old female from Fayette County. Our 381st death, a 71-year-old male from Kanawha County. Our 382nd death, a 71-year-old female from Kanawha County. Our 383rd death, a 79-year-old male from Kanawha County. Our 384th death, an 84-year-old female from Boone County. And our 385th death, a 90-year-old female from Kanawha County. All in all, 6 out of the 9 deaths were in Kanawha County. Now, we all know Kanawha County is our most populous county, and we all know that all these individuals, the youngest of all of them, were 2 71-year-olds, with the most eldest a 96-year-old, I'm sorry. We had 3 in the 90-year-old category. So what does it tell us? It tells us over and over and over the same thing. It tells us this killer pandemic attacks the elderly the worst. It tells us that absolutely in Kanawha County, we still have many issues, as we do have throughout our state. It tells us what we've said over and over and over, that we are an elderly state. It tells us that we are a state that abounds in chronic, different types of illnesses, whether they be diabetes or they be obesity or they be, lung disorders or whatever from years of work in the coal mines. So whatever it may be, we know the things that I have just said. Now, the bottom line is we've got to be able to keep it away from these people, don't we? And how do we keep it away? We have found a way to do just that, and we'll get into this more in detail as we go. But the way we do just that is we identify those that we find that are absolute spreaders, and most of them don't even know it. Well, how do we find those people? We test. We test, and we test, and we test more. And the more we test, the more we find. We just found one of our institution's president of the entire institution that we just found that had COVID, had no clue at all that they had it, completely no symptoms. We've got to test. You've got to remember these great folks in your prayers, your thoughts. Absolutely never let them become a statistic. Can you imagine the wisdom that a 78, 92, 79, 96, 71, 71, 79, 84, and 90-year-old people gave to us in this state as wisdom for decades and decades and decades? Please remember them. Please remember them in your prayers. We had 153 new positives, in the last 24 hours. Our daily positivity rate is 2.62. It's not super bad, but it's not what we wanted. It still can be better. Our cumulative percentage is 2.78. Our active cases are 4,578, and our recovered are at 13,318. Our hospitalizations are still about the same, 168. Our effective reproduction number, that is that RT number, is the second best in the entire nation. It's at 0.92. However, we do have issues across this state. Mingo County today on our daily map with the DHHR drifted into the red. That's, we've got all kinds of resources and everybody running to that fire. We have now 6 counties that have gone orange, and the cluster of these 6 counties, 5 of them are all touching one another. Berkeley is out in the Eastern Panhandle, but Doddridge, Harrison, Barber, Upshur, and Randolph County is an area of the state that has all these counties now have gone orange, and so we need to just do exactly. I mean, the formula is really simple. We got to find out why these counties are continuing to spread. It's just as simple as that, is it not? We have got to find out why they are spreading. And the answer is test and find the people that are spreading this that don't even know they're doing it. That's the answer. So in all these counties, I plead with you over and over and over, get tested. Take advantage of this free testing. You know, all of our testing sites are up on the website. You know, in the counties of all these counties, we will be there today, and we'll be in Mingo, Berkeley, Doddridge, Harrison, Barber, Upshur, and Randolph counties. We're there today. Go get tested. Please go get tested, and it will absolutely help in every way. Hopefully what we'll find is just a very few that we can help and we can isolate for a few days. You know, it's not the end of the world. We just isolate and we stop the spreading. From a standpoint of drive-through pharmacy testing as a part of the expansion of free testing across the state, we have partnered with Walgreens and Fruth pharmacies to make the COVID testing available at their drive-through locations. All this information's up on, on our website, along with regular testing that'll be going on through the local health departments. It's just one more way West Virginians can get tested and stop the spread of this terrible virus. Please take advantage of it. On our Saturday map, that's put out, every Saturday from the our education map, we had 4 counties at that time in the orange. That was Doddridge, Harrison, Upshur, and Mingo counties. We had 7 counties in the gold. They were Berkeley, Barber, Randolph, Jackson, Putnam, Kanawha, and Cabell counties. All the rest of our counties in the state were in the yellow and the green. That meant we had a total of 11 counties that were in the orange and gold and none in red. So that left 44 counties, in the yellow and green. For the most part, we've got a tremendous amount of our state now that's in the green. That's really good. But at the same time, we sure got to continue to run to all these fires and do everything we possibly can to put them out. We have 21 active cases, outbreaks now in our schools. We have with 62 confirmed cases in the public school system. All that information is available up on the website. We have 47 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities. We have 14 outbreaks in our churches, and that are reported in 10 counties. Those counties are Nicholas, Putnam, Mason, Doddridge, Upshur, Logan, Tucker, Harrison, Fayette, and Kanawha counties. Again, I keep going over the same thing. But please, please, please follow the guidelines that we've said so many times. Forgive me. I got choked right there. Please forgive me. Our corrections update, we're down to 3. We got 3 COVID cases currently. We got 1 at Mount Olive, 1 at North Central, and 1 at Laurier. We also have 11 staff cases, but we have 3 active cases, in our corrections now, and I just named where they are. From the standpoint of our grants and our, that are going out to our cities and our counties, we're just approaching $143 million that have been awarded. We continue to tell everybody, continue to apply. I'd like to report to you just 1 second on on where we stand nationwide on the next stimulus package that's coming out and everything. It keeps getting bogged down, and I guess the parties are in their own way trying to negotiate, which is it's so ridiculous. It's just off the chart. I mean, they want to call it politics, but it's children in a sandbox. And you know, while you got a lot of people that are out here really, really, really hurting. And so with all that being said, you know, whether it be, you know, our restaurant owners or the employees of all of our restaurants or all of the people that are out, you know, still that are struggling with unemployment issues and you know, have lost their job, you know, of no responsibility of them. They, you know, this terrible virus, you know, caused them to lose their job and businesses close. And for crying out loud, businesses are on the ropes and everything from the standpoint of closing their doors forever. And on top of all that, you've got people that are sitting wondering, how in the world am I going to pay the rent? Am I going to get thrown out on the street, or what, you know, how am I going to pay my car payment, or what am I going to be able to do? And the whole time, you've got Washington playing a game in a sandbox, playing a game because the election is just in a few weeks, and so they're playing a game. That's all there is to it. It's a shame. I can't control that, and but I do believe that there'll be an additional stimulus package passed. I hope and pray that it's done before the election, because, you know, if the election were to go towards the Democrats, then it may be that this does not get done until the Democrats take office. You know, if it's done, if the election goes towards the Republican side, you know, it may be that the Democrats just fight back and everything for a period of time, and we get in limbo and everything. I cannot see a quick resolution to this right after the election, you know. But and that's why I hope and pray so much that we'll get it done before the election, you know, because, you know, I could just see, and I don't have any way of knowing that for sure, but I could just see more food fight, and it's just a crying, pitiful shame because of people that were with their businesses, or people that are struggling without a job, and on and on and on. So hopefully it'll get done. But, you know, from the standpoint of our census, we're still at 99.9. We're tied, or 99.9%. You know, way to go, West Virginia. You're still tied for first place there. Now, I want to end with this, and this is really neat stuff. You know, we all know all the successes with the National Guard and the Mountaineer Challenge Academy at Camp Dawson. It's unbelievable. I mean, if you'd go there and you'd see these young men and women, and you'd see them graduate and see the great work that the Guard's doing, it's phenomenal, is it not? It's phenomenal. And they've touched hundreds, if not thousands of lives, and they've changed those lives. You know, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. Kids with real issues and real problems and everything, now they're on their way, and they're doing great work, great work. So, you know, we want to start Mountaineer Challenge Academy South. We want to replicate exactly what's already been done, and so, you know, we have the facilities right here in Montgomery, and what an opportunity that was. And I'm taking you back a little while. And so we really worked through it, and we found the funds to be able to do that in the budget year last year and be able to get it done. And then relatively months later, here we go. And yesterday we officially opened Mountaineer Challenge Academy South in Montgomery, and you know, with the first class of 72 cadets, 72 lives are going to change. I mean, it's unbelievable. Representing 30 counties across the state, no way in the world I could be more proud of something than that. And the National Guard is just doing terrific work. Like I said, we were able to do it within the budget of last year without increasing the dollars, increasing the budget a dime. That was really, really good. Not only will it be good for those kids, and not only do we commend the National Guard and everything, but it will be an economic boost for an area of Kanawha County that really needs that boost and everything. And Montgomery absolutely needs it, and not only that, but it'll be good for all Kanawha County, and that's really great. And again, I just keep thanking the National Guard all the time. But General Hoyer and all your great work and all the great work of the Guard, way to go, good stuff, good stuff. I don't really have anything else to report other than just to say and to wrap up just this. We've lost 385 great West Virginians now. We have tested we are approaching, well, we're way past a third of our total population in the state. We've tested 638,821 tests. It's amazing. It's amazing. But absolutely, we need to continue to bear down and keep on testing and everything. It's the only way out of this thing. If you look at our charts just real quick, and then I'll back off. But if you look at our charts, you'll see, in the top chart that really we're starting to swing the right way. Our recovered cases versus our active cases are getting wider again. That's really good. From the standpoint of our daily positivity, if you'll look there, we've been bouncing up here, and all that's been going on for, we started that steeper incline toward the latter part of August. So, that's been going that way and everything all the way to where we are now. And if you'll look real close, we've trended down, from the latter part of August. It's still not as good as it needs to be by any stretch of the imagination, but we're getting better. And the third chart, if you'll look at that, same kind of thing. If you go way back, all the way back in the beginning, back over here to April and May, you'll see where we were way above that dotted line. And then all of a sudden we trended down. We looked great through the latter part the early part of June, all the way up through about the middle of July. Then we ran along the dotted line for a good little while there, running about 2.39, 2.32. And then we started moving up and everything. And you'll see that just trends exactly with that daily positivity on the line above that. So really we're starting to tilt down just a little bit, and on Friday, I want to just tell you this. On Friday, we tested 10,500 tests were done on Friday, and we've tested more than any other of our surrounding states. And let me just see, they just put this up for me to see. Well, the bottom line of the whole thing is we tested 10,500 people yesterday. We've been wanting so much to get that total test number up to, 7,000 or 8,000. We won't be able to hold 10,000, but 10,000 will be great. And so at least people are getting the word, to go get tested, because that's the key. That's the key right now. If you're tested, we're going to absolutely just think. We tested 2,000 people in a week in Kanawha County, and we found 85 people that had this that didn't know they had it. How many people would they infect? How many people would they infect and would have died? Just think about it. And I keep going back to the same thing. What's a life worth? Well, you can't tell me and I can't tell me, because it is absolutely worth more than any of us could imagine. And so with all that being said, the only way we're going to be able to stop me sitting here and reading to you the number of deaths, the only way we're going to be able to stop this is with a vaccine that could come down the way. But really and truly, in the meantime, the only way we're going to be able to stop it is absolutely to know where the spreaders are and stop it. We can do that if you'll test. So keep pouring it on. Go get the test. That'll really help us all, help us in every way. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Well, good afternoon. I think the governor has shared some good news and then some news that makes us want to stay cautious. And as we look at our approach for the state public health map, which we also use for the schools, as the governor said, we've seen one county move to red, and we've seen some of the orange counties start to cluster in the north central part of the state. And as we've said many times, the goal here is to identify all the people who might be infected with COVID-19 and not know it. And that group of small group of people, those super spreaders, are people that can spread to 80% of others, oftentimes at a time when they don't know themselves they've been infected. So really extensive testing is so important. And the governor has challenged all of us to not only have that testing available, but for each citizen to go out and take advantage of that. So if you're in Mingo County, please go to the free testing and get tested. If you're in some of these other orange or gold counties or yellow or green counties, make sure that you are keeping track of your own health. And also, we know that this map has been used to be able to open up the schools. And an important consideration for all of us, if you're a student or if you're a teacher or if you're a parent, is how safe is it to go back to school? And I think it's really exciting that looking around the country and specifically looking at West Virginia, what we're finding is around the country, the rate of transmission in schools is really, really low. In fact, it's less than 0.1% for students as far as confirmed tests go, and it's less than 0.2% for teachers as far as confirmed tests go. And in West Virginia, we have seen very few outbreaks directly in school classrooms. And in fact, to date, I don't believe we found any direct evidence of in-classroom spread of COVID-19. And that is very, very good news as we, with the appropriate approaches that are being used in the schools, it appears that the classroom is a safe place to be. And in fact, the cases that occur in schools are being brought from the community and more commonly brought in by the adults than the kids. And so I think as we go, we want to make sure that particularly when adults are coming into the schoolroom, whether it's teachers or staff, that you're paying attention, get tested in the community testing events. It's a great opportunity to make sure that you're okay. And also making sure that people are wearing masks around each other and physically distancing, as the governor has said. And also we're finding some spread among sports teams. And that is both coaches and older people as well as younger people. So in those environments where people get closer together and take their masks off, then it's also really important for us to pay a lot of attention to some of these protection measures. And as we go forward, some people have asked, well, now that we have these two metrics, the infection rate and the percent positive rate, is that not a problem because we're making it easier on counties to be able to bring their metrics down so that they could go back to school and that they could go back to their activities. And as I just said, the good news is it appears that school, at least in the K through 12 area in classroom, is safe, and safe not only in West Virginia, but safe around the country. But it also, it's important to note that we are using national standards on both the infection rate and also on the percent positive rate. And we want counties that are in the red, the orange, the gold, and even in the yellow and green to continue to test. And the more we test, the more people will identify who can spread COVID-19. And initially it's gonna, as that percent positive rate goes down, as we test a lot of people and find new people that are infected with COVID-19, even if they're not symptomatic yet, we know that infection rate will initially go up because the infection rate just counts the daily new cases, doesn't count how many tests you do to identify those new cases. But over time, both will come down. And as evidence of that, we've seen our reproductive rate, the score on how much and how fast COVID's spreading, go from worst in the country about 3 weeks ago, and we were worst in the country for about 5 days. And we're second or third best in the country today, which is fantastic. So West Virginia are doing a great job. keep it up, get tested, wear your mask, stay physically distanced, be careful about the 3 C's, the crowds, the closed spaces without, the best ventilation, and close contact in a continuous way from people that you don't live with. But we're making a real impact. Good news about the schools, great news about the schools in West Virginia. Keep at it, West Virginia, you're doing well.
All right, thank you, Dr. Marsh. Next to Major General Hoyer with the West Virginia National Guard.
Good afternoon. As was pointed out by the governor, a number of testing missions going on this week. As Dr. Marsh pointed out, we really need to get out in those counties where we're providing testing. DHHR continues to do great work to increase testing at pharmacies and other locations for regular basis testing for individuals, and we ask that you continue to do that. As the governor pointed out, West Virginia National Guard is excited about the new Mountaineer Challenge Academy. We'll keep you updated over the next few days as these students go through their orientation and how many of our kids continue through the process. I do want to give a particular shout out to the Mountaineer Challenge Academy North at Camp Dawson. We are 13 weeks into the program, and we have yet to have a positive case among a staff member or a cadet. It just demonstrates what we ask you to do. If you stay disciplined on masking, distancing, the proper sanitization techniques, we're doing regular testing of staff and students at Challenge Academy North, and we have had great success. They're 13 weeks into their 19-week program. We've also graduated 8 already from the Jobs Challenge program, and we have 4 more in progress to graduate. So we appreciate all the great work of the staff, faculty, and the cadets at Mountaineer Challenge Academy North for demonstrating how we do things the right way. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Major General Hoyer. Dr. Ayn Amjad, our State Health Officer, and Bill Crouch, Secretary of the West Virginia DHHR, are also joining us today and are available for questions. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Brad McElhenney with West Virginia Metro News.
Hi, Governor. Hi, everyone. Hold on just a moment. I wasn't expecting to go first.
All right, we'll come back to you, Brad. Next, how about Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11?
Hi, this is Kenny Bass with Channel 8 and Fox 11. It's great news about the numbers in schools, but I have a question for Dr. Marsh with continued reports of board members, at least one board member in Putnam County, maybe being on the other side of the coronavirus isn't as serious as it's been portrayed by some. I don't want to say that they're saying it's a hoax, but certainly they say the danger is less than it's been portrayed. I know that the governor has allocated local control to counties, and that's been a big part of the strategy. But in many instances in the past, when counties have shown they were incapable of leading their school systems financially or through academic scores, the state has taken over very quickly. Do you see scenarios in the future where it's possible the state would have to step in to any particular counties if they were, I don't want to say if they were misbehaving, but certainly if they were not living up to the standards that the state expects for safety for teachers, school personnel, and students? Thank you.
Dr. Marsh, go.
Well, first of all, Kenny, thanks for that question, which I believe is above my pay grade. But what I would just say is that we all know that COVID is a very serious pandemic, generational event. 211,000 plus have died in our country. Over 1 million people have died around the world. This is not a hoax. Certainly, I would leave the decision making as far as who might oversee what area to the governor, the governor's office, and also to the State Board of Education and to Secretary or Commissioner Birch.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Next, we'll go to Paul Mullen with WCBC.
Good afternoon, Governor. Good afternoon, panel. I've been looking at the map And I'm not going to beat up anybody about the map. This is more of a question based on vision than anything else. About a month ago, we had Morgantown and Mon County all in the red there, and then we have this bunch of counties now in a cluster south of Morgantown. I was wondering, and perhaps Dr. Marsh is the best one to answer this, is this something that maybe was emanating from Morgantown and now moving south in a wave-like as far as migrating the virus?
Dr. Marsh, go again.
Well, thank you. I think that when you look at the age demographics of the problem we had in Mon County, it's pretty clear that that was from a lot of students. And about 92% of the positive tests at that time were from people between 10 and 28 or 29 years old. And if you look at the demographics of other parts of the state, you really don't see the same, you see a more even spread across a lot of the different age groups. And I think that when you start to look at a community by community or county by county assessment of the spread, we know that outbreaks account for a number of the spread in counties, say like Kanawha County, whereas other counties might have more targeted issues like Mon County with the students, and others, with outbreaks in nursing homes that are more focused to those counties or to churches or to other entities in the counties. Certainly, we know that the K through 12 grade groups appear to be pretty safe. We also know that there tends to be more spread from colleges and the groups of people there, like we might see in Barber County, in Cabell County, and Mon County, and some of the other counties that host higher ed. Although, again, that's not been as much of an issue as we were afraid it might be either. So I don't think it's a wave from Mon County. I think it's the fact that people are much more mobile back and forth. And I think that, some of our citizens are tired, and as was articulated by Kenny Bass, some people have a different lens that they look through, so they may not feel that COVID is such a problematic infection. And so I think the ability for us to maintain our discipline as far as wearing masks and physical distancing and avoiding the 3 C's and getting tested is perhaps better in some counties than others.
All right, thank you, Paul. Next to Larissa Casillas with Nexstar Media.
So this question is for the governor regarding your comments on the stimulus package. You mentioned Democrats, but I'm wondering, what is your reaction to the president who said he wasn't going to even negotiate a stimulus package before the election? If you want one to happen before the election, do you think he'd reconsider? What is your reaction to that?
Okay, first of all, I just didn't lay this at the doorstep of the Democrats. I said, the Democrats, if the election were tomorrow and the Democrats won the election, it may very well be, it could be a few weeks, if not maybe a couple months and everything before we got movement as far as getting the stimulus package done. If the Republicans win, you could have the exact same thing because of the bitterness between the parties and the playing in the sandbox not very good and everything. But I do want to address your question point blank. The president, as of this morning, now just think about this. The Republicans now have moved to where they're willing to go out with a stimulus, which is, I think, the 4th stimulus package of $1.9 trillion. Now, Nancy Pelosi and everybody, they wanted $2.2 trillion the last go-round. I am telling you, from the standpoint of the president made it so clear this morning. He said, we're ready to go. We're ready to go right now. And we have moved, they have moved from a 1.2 to 1.4 to 1.6, now to $1.9 trillion. Now, I know that's happened for sure because I'm a numbers guy. Now, and they said, and the president said, we're ready to go. We're ready to go right now. Well, you tell me who the holdup is. I mean, for crying out loud, in my opinion, Nancy Pelosi does not want to do a deal and everything because the longer she can hold this as a political move, the longer she can hold it, that's what she's trying to do. You know, it is preposterous in my opinion. You know, now, I would tell you first and foremost, the Republicans started down the path, you know, probably a month and a half ago of so-called being fiscally responsible. And at that point in time, they offered up a program really and true with no dollars going to states or cities or whatever it may be. And that was a real hang-up with the Republicans. And I feel like at that time, the Republicans in Washington were not handling this properly. Now, things have really changed. And now what you have is just this. You have a situation with Nancy Pelosi like a dog chasing a car. You know, now she's caught the car. The Republicans have moved to $1.9 trillion. She's caught the car, and she still doesn't want to do it. You know, and what does that tell us? Politics, just politics. You know, I would tell you first and foremost, the Republicans, in my opinion, were not moving like they should have 4 or 5 weeks ago and got this done. And now Nancy Pelosi is showing her cards that she never would have done it in the first place. And so that, and our president is standing in the wings saying absolutely, hands down. You heard him point blank this morning, if you were to tell the truth. He said, we're ready to go right now, and we've moved all this way. Let's get a deal done and get it done right now. Now, that's what our president's saying, you know, so all I can do is just report what I know is the facts.
All right, thank you, Larissa. Next is Steve Adams with Ogden Newspapers. I think we may have lost Steve. How about Jade Burks with WVVA?
Hey there, it's Jade Burks of WVVA. We're following a situation at FCI McDowell. 2 positive inmates were brought in about 2 weeks ago by the U.S. Marshals, and now there are several staff members there testing positive. I know this is a federal facility, but are you guys aware of the situation, and can anything be done to stop the transfer of inmates into West Virginia facilities? Thanks.
You know, General Hoyer, you may be able to weigh in a little bit on this, but you know, we have all the time, you know, expressed real concerns and been watching, you know, everything that's going on from the standpoint of our Bureau of Prisons, and you know, for the most part, I think the answer to your question is more of a federal matter, but we know how, you know, how critical that situation can be, and you know, with people being confined in an area and all that, but I couldn't really understand exactly all the components of your question, but I think I got it enough just to be able to tell you that our corrections people have done a heck of a job. It's amazing the job that they've done, and so with all that, I think, you know, the correct answer to your question would have to come from our corrections people or the federal government.
All right, thank you, Jade. Next to Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. Governor, the first gubernatorial debate is tomorrow night. What, if anything, are you doing to prepare for that? And what do you think voters can learn from tuning into that? Thank you.
Well, I hope it doesn't become, and it won't become on my side, it won't become this. You know, it will not become a food fight. It will not become a spectacle. I hope that I hope that it is respectful and educational for our voters. But But, you know, I think that, you know, from my side and their side, I think, you know, we should make our points as to how we would govern and what we would do, and answer any tough questions that may come our way, and you know, and from a standpoint of preparing, I've not done much preparation, and I'll think about it between now and tomorrow. But at the same time, I've had to deal with running this state, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next to Matthew Young with the West Virginia Daily News.
Good afternoon, Matthew Young with the West Virginia Daily News. As far as testing goes, we're obviously putting a big emphasis on the more highly populated areas, and you know that makes sense. You know, resources clearly need to go where the people are. But as Dr. Marsh had said, you know, we need to be doing as much testing as possible in the gold, the yellow, and the green counties also. And it seems like we've been a little bit more reactive with those situations, whereas we're running to the fires, you know, as you had put it. I'm wondering if there's been any conversation about putting more of a focus on other counties. Monroe County, for example, they're a smaller county, you know, less than 2,000 students in their school system there. They're green again this week, which is good, but their numbers there are beginning to spike, you know, fairly substantially. They were under 3% in infection rate last week. This week now they're hovering right around 10%. And 600 and some odd thousand tests that have been conducted statewide, the county still only accounts for less than 6,000 of those. So has there been any talk of you know, putting more of an emphasis on the counties with offering the free testing to try to get ahead of the spreads in the smaller areas before they become, you know, much larger outbreaks? Thank you.
Well, let me just handle this, guys. You know, first of all, I love the question. Second of all, you know, there's been a lot of people that have been stepping up from the standpoint of our pharmacies or whatever it may be. But now just think about this just a second. You know, when we had a backlog and you know, as far as being able to get out the unemployment claims, I went to the Guard and I said, whatever we have as far as help, triple it. And then, really and truly, we still had too much of a backlog. And I said, triple the triple. And at that point in time, we solved the riddle and solved it very, very, very quickly. Now, through all that, other states all across this nation didn't do anything close to what we did. And then we were only one of 4 states that stepped up and did, you know, the other additional 25% to the unemployed and everything, because we managed our money the right way and we had money to be able to do just that. Now, if you'll follow that same format, you know, see, all of us have a style. All of us have a way that we do stuff. You know, in this situation of testing, I've gone to the Guard and said, you got to add more teams. And they added more teams. And I said, no, it's not good enough. We've got to add even more teams. And so now they've added an additional 15 teams, you know, that the National Guard has, that they're running all over the place everywhere in testing. Now, your question is so good and so valid. We continue to try to test in every way and push ourselves to the total limit of our capabilities. You see, if we have any more juice in the tank to be able to do more testing and go out in these counties in a more, you know, vigilant way to be able to test more and more and more, I will check again and say, General or DHHR or any of the pharmacies or any way that we can test more in the rural counties, in the areas that are absolutely moving, we can see their movement, and we can run to that fire just as much as running to the fire of the orange and the red counties or the gold counties, which have absolutely been the number one focus, and we know that and everything. Your question's dead on, and absolutely we want to just continue to grow our ability. But if we're maxed out on testing, or we're maxed out on the number of people that we can put to it, then we can only run to so many fires, and then we've got to run to the red and the orange fires first and foremost. But great question. I'll continue to look at it. Just watch my style and watch what I've done in the past. You know, I just recently went to General Hoyer and said, General, we got to add a tremendous amount more teams, and he did it, and we did it. And so if there's any more teams that we can add, we'll add them. Great question, and that's what we're going to do.
All right, thank you, Matthew. Next to Phil Kabler with the Charleston Gazette-Mail.
Hello, everyone. Governor, initially you referenced a president of a state institution testing positive without doing any HIPAA violations. Could you give us more detail, particularly if this is a president of a college or university who would have a lot of interaction with students, faculty, and staff?
Phil, the good part about the way I do things, Phil, is just this. You know, I don't do it like where you did the other day, you know, and everything, going out just insulting people and going through your typical, you know, sending stuff out on Facebook or social media and everything, and people that didn't want any part of being, you know, their names or whatever putting out and doing stuff and everything. You see, Phil, I don't do stuff that way. You know, actually, the president of this university and everything put her information out and said that she had been tested and everything, and she put all that out herself and everything. So I'm just reporting what she put out, and that we were able to find, you know, I mean, an individual that had no idea that she had this and everything, and we just do it the right way around here, Phil, and I'd highly recommend that you learn how to do it the right way too.
All right, thank you, Phil. Next to Brad McElhenney with West Virginia Metro News. Brad, are you ready?
Yep. Hey, Jordan. Hey, Governor. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to me. Governor, you declared a state of emergency for West Virginia because of the coronavirus pandemic on March 16th. Half a year has passed, and the state's map at this point shows most counties on green. What would designate when that state of emergency is lifted? When a vaccine is in place? How long will it go on? Thank you.
Well, Brad, first of all, I got to tease you a little bit. You know, I think the world of you, and I really do. And I love the fact, you know, that when we came to you and you said, hold on, I'm not ready and everything for that and everything. And you know, tomorrow night, when they come to me with something, I'm not going to be able to say, hold on, I'm not ready quite yet and everything. But I only say that in jest because I think the world of you. And Brad, I would just say this: it's been a long 6 months since issuing that state of emergency, and it's been a much longer 6 months for people, you know, that have lost their jobs or lost loved ones or their businesses are worried to death. They're going down the tubes and all the different issues, you know, from the standpoint of losing 385 great West Virginians and on and on. Brad, we're in this country, we're nowhere close to lifting our states of emergency. In fact, the very thing that I wrote in my notes today, and I'll do it now, was to caution everybody. I mean, I know everybody's tired. I know everybody's sick and tired of wearing their mask and all that kind of stuff. I know it's so easy for us to drop our guard. I would tell everyone, we cannot drop our guard. We have got to continue to be really concerned. And absolutely, please continue to wear your mask, get tested, do all the things from the social distancing. look out after the older people. I mean, they have given us their whole lives, and now is it too much for us to not look after them? So, Brad, as far as lifting this emergency thing, it's way premature right now. You asked, will the vaccine make this go away and be able to lift? Well, I hope and pray. But you and I both know that what will happen is this. If we had a vaccine today and our federal government was telling us that they had vetted it and they had absolutely checked it and it was good to go, there'd be a tremendous number of West Virginians that would be hesitant about taking the vaccine. And so it will take us some time to get through that. And as we go through all that, Brad, we've got to, and we just got to stay as vigilant as we possibly can. We got to stay on our game. We've got to keep, even though we're tired and we don't have the energies, we got to absolutely keep our guard up. And so it'll be a great day when we can lift that, but we can't do it now.
All right, thank you, Brad. Governor, back to you.
Well, I pretty much said, about everything I can say. It was great news to hear, and we've got to listen to our medical team. I mean, these people are the best of the best. I mean, you just think about Clay Marsh. If I could just brag on him just for a second. He came on board with wanting to just come on board to help. Now, here is a guy that is, if he's not the leading, he is surely one of the premier of the premier at West Virginia University, and he's been at Ohio State. I mean, his resume is so beyond, anything that I would have or anything that anybody else would have, especially in regard to anything to do with the medical field. His resume is unbelievable. And he speaks to us just blunt and straightforward as he can speak. And today, he looks at everything coming or going all across the world, all across our nation and everything else. And today he reported to us some news that is terrific news, in that kids in the classroom and exposure to the teachers and the spread and all that kind of stuff, for all practical purposes, is extremely low, extremely safe and everything. And the problems are probably that we may have, from staff, seeing staff and coming in and staff meetings or whatever it may be, that's much higher than from the standpoint of us being in school. Now, what does it say, though? What does it absolutely say? It says that every single solitary last one of us still needs to be concerned about our kids, about our teachers, about our service personnel. We need to keep our guard up about our schools. Now, it's great news. It's great news. But from my standpoint, I want to say just this. I'll be worried about those kids, those teachers, and that service personnel. I'll be worried until we get to the end of this, and I won't let my guard down. There's no way. But it's great news that Dr. Marsh reported, and I don't know how it could come from a bigger expert or a more important person and everything. But with all that being said, the only last thing I would say is just what I said just a second ago. Please don't let your guard down, West Virginia. My goodness, we're getting closer and closer and closer to the finish line here. 385 people have gone, and they are depending on us. They are depending on us, and they're watching us. And absolutely, they want not to go in vain. They're depending on us. They're depending on us to have enough strength and have enough courage to put that mask on, to absolutely go out and tell people, no, we can't, we got to stay apart here. They're absolutely depending on us, and don't forget them, West Virginia. Don't forget them. God bless you.